Why your conversations with girls keep dying and how to fix it. Most guys think they're bad at talking to girls. They're wrong. That's not the problem. The real problem is something much simpler and honestly much more frustrating. Nobody teaches you how conversations actually work, so you grow up thinking that if you're funny enough, confident enough, attractive enough, or have enough interesting stories, conversations will naturally flow. But then reality hits. You meet a girl you genuinely like. You start talking. For a few seconds, everything seems fine. Then suddenly, the conversation stalls. You run out of things to say. She runs out of things to say. And before you know it, the interaction dies. Not because she's not interested, not because you're boring, but because you're making one mistake that almost every guy makes. And the worst part? You probably don't even realize you're doing it. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine a girl asks you, "How was your weekend?" Most guys answer like this: "Pretty good. Just relaxed." Sounds normal, right? The problem is that your answer gives her almost nothing to work with. Where does she go from there? What is she supposed to respond to? So she says, "Nice." And then you say, "Yeah." And just like that, the conversation is dead. Now, here's what's interesting. The answer wasn't bad. The answer was complete. Too complete. You answered the question and closed the door. That's exactly what most people do in conversations. They treat conversations like interviews. Question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. But that's not how great conversations work. Great conversations are not about exchanging information. They're about creating opportunities. Think of every answer as a doorway. You can either open a new door or slam it shut. Most guys slam it shut without realizing it. Let's go back to that weekend question. Instead of saying, "Pretty good, just relaxed," you could say, "Pretty good, just relaxed, actually. I spent most of Sunday trying to learn how to make homemade pizza and completely failed." See the difference? Now she has options. She can ask about cooking. She can ask what went wrong. She can tell a story about her own cooking disaster. Your answer created multiple paths. And that's the secret. Conversations survive when there are paths available. They die when there aren't. Here's another example. Imagine she asks, "So, what do you do?" Most guys respond, "I'm a software engineer." Conversation over. Now compare that to this. "I'm a software engineer, mostly working on mobile apps." It's actually pretty interesting, because sometimes thousands of people end up using something I built. Notice what happened. You didn't give a longer answer. You gave a richer answer. There's a huge difference. A long answer can still be boring. A rich answer creates curiosity. And curiosity is the fuel that keeps conversations moving. Now, let me give you a simple rule that can instantly improve almost every conversation you have. I call it the rule of addition. The rule of addition is simple. Whenever someone asks you a question, answer it, and then add one extra piece of information. Just one, nothing complicated. Question: Where are you from? Weak answer: Delhi. Better answer: I'm from Delhi, but I spent a few years living in Bangalore for work. Question: What do you do for fun? Weak answer: I go to the gym. Better answer: I go to the gym a lot. Lately, I've been trying boxing too, and I've realized getting punched is a lot less fun than it looks online. That tiny addition changes everything. Because now the other person has something they can grab onto, and that's what you're trying to do. You're giving the conversation handles. Without handles, people can't continue. Now, let's talk about the second mistake. A lot of guys focus so much on what they're going to say next that they completely ignore what the other person is giving them. Let's say she says, "I love traveling." Most guys respond with, "Oh, nice." That's it. Opportunity wasted. Instead, get curious. Ask, "What's the best place you've visited?" Then ask, "What made it so memorable?" Then ask, "Would you ever move there?" Notice what's happening. You're not forcing the conversation. You're following it. You're exploring it. Great conversationalists are not people with endless stories. They're people with endless curiosity. They hear something interesting, and they dig deeper. And here's something important. People don't enjoy conversations because they get to hear themselves talk. They enjoy conversations because they feel understood. When someone feels understood, they naturally become more engaged. That's why curiosity is so powerful. Now, we're finally at the technique I promised earlier. And honestly, this might be the most useful conversation skill you'll ever learn. Most people ask surface-level questions. They ask about facts. But interesting conversations happen when you ask about reasons. Instead of asking, "What do you do?" ask, "Why did you choose that career?" Instead of asking, "What's your favorite hobby?" ask, "Why do you enjoy it so much?" Instead of asking, "What's your favorite city?" ask, "What makes that city special to you?" Do you see the pattern? Facts are shallow. Reasons are personal. And personal is where real conversations happen. Because when people explain why they think, feel, or believe something, they're revealing who they are. That's when conversations become memorable. That's when connections start forming. And that's when talking stops feeling like work. So let's put everything together. If your conversations keep dying, stop worrying about having better jokes. Stop worrying about finding perfect lines. Stop worrying about saying something impressive. Instead, remember these 3 things. First, never answer and stop. Answer and add. Second, be curious enough to explore what people tell you. Third, ask about reasons, not just facts. Do those 3 things consistently, and your conversations will instantly become longer, smoother, and more engaging. Because the people who are great at conversations aren't necessarily the funniest people. They're not always the most attractive. And they're definitely not the people with the most interesting lives. They're simply the people who know how to keep doors open. And once you learn that skill, you'll never run out of things to talk about again.